We often think of pain as just an injury, something that hurts for a while and then we heal and move on. But what if it's more than that? What if profound pain doesn't just leave a scar, but it fundamentally changes who we are in ways we might not even recognize in ourselves? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. This quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? Pain isn't just a memory. It can linger in the quiet moments, it can influence our choices, and it can totally rewire how we see the world. It's this incredibly powerful force, and I think just understanding its deeper impact is the first step toward feeling seen. So, let's start with the internal world, because before pain ever affects how we deal with other people, it starts by changing how we experience reality itself. Our private thoughts, our sense of time, even our own intuition. Okay, so this first one is pretty wild. It's how pain can actually distort our perception of time. And this isn't just a feeling, it's a recognized phenomenon called temporal fragmentation. It's basically the clinical term for when time feels like it's stretching or shrinking or just blurring altogether. It's often a response from our brain trying to cope with being emotionally overloaded. And what does that fragmentation feel like? Well, it's like the past feels like it's happening right now, or the future feels so threatening that you're just constantly planning for it, bracing for it. And the present moment, it just gets completely lost in all that noise. It's a very, very real consequence of navigating deep pain. Now, here's an interesting one that can grow out of that: a radically sharpened intuition. I mean, think about it. When you're constantly scanning the past for clues or the future for threats, your nervous system gets really, really good at picking up on these smallest things. A tiny shift in someone's tone of voice, a flicker in their eyes. You basically become an expert at reading people and situations. And it's so important to understand this next part. It's so easy to look at that and call it pessimism, right? But it's not. It's actually a highly developed survival strategy. Your mind learned how to brace for impact to keep you safe. So expecting the worst isn't about being negative. It's more like preparing for a storm, even when the sky is blue. Okay, so we've seen how our perception of the world can shift. Now let's talk about how that starts to rewire our emotions. This is where we really see changes in how we connect with others, how we learn to trust again, and even how we experience something as simple as joy. This one can be tough. What happens when joy just feels weird? For a lot of people who've been through intense pain, happiness can feel really unfamiliar. It can even trigger something called survivor guilt, that little voice that says you don't deserve to be happy, maybe because others are still suffering or because a part of you is still hurting so much. And this leads to something we should probably all keep in mind. The next time you see someone with a really blank expression, it's so easy for our minds to jump to conclusions, right? We think they're angry or unapproachable, but sometimes it's just that the pain has quietly taken their smile away. It's a good reminder to be mindful instead of judgmental. Now, trust. That's a huge one. Pain often leads to what we call hyperindependence, this deep, protective belief that you can only ever rely on yourself. So healing becomes this journey, right? It starts with that isolation and then slowly moves toward a cautious connection. And eventually, hopefully, to a place where you understand that needing other people isn't a weakness. It's just part of being human. And all of this brings us to our final section, which is really about transformation. Because as much as pain takes away from us, it can also lead to this profound redefinition of who you are, what you stand for, and what actually gives your life meaning. Pain completely changes our definition of strength, doesn't it? The old idea of strength was about being tough, about pretending you're okay. But new strength, that's about being real. It's about having the courage to just show up, especially when you feel like you can't. True strength is admitting you need help, not acting like you don't. And from that new, authentic strength, a new purpose can start to grow. You might feel this incredible drive to create something meaningful, something that helps prevent others from feeling that same pain. Or you might develop this fierce sensitivity to injustice, this burning desire to protect others because you know what it feels like to be powerless. And that leads to our 10th and final change, and it's a beautiful one. When you've really been through it, you develop this unique ability to just sit with someone in their pain without trying to fix them. You can offer what's called lived compassion, and that makes you a safe harbor for other people, whether they even realize why or not. So if there's one thing to take away from all of this, let it be this. Healing is not about forgetting. It's not about trying to get back to who you were before. It's about integrating that experience and finding a way to grow around it, through it, and sometimes even because of it. And so, as we finish up, I just want to leave you with this question to think about. Looking back at this whole journey, from perception to purpose, which of these changes resonate with you? Which ones have you maybe noticed in yourself? Because just recognizing them, that's a huge